The upper decks of the Varelin space station. Outside the tall glass windows, the stars shimmered like tiny sparks on black velvet. But inside, silence stretched like fog. Ari stood in the hallway with a cleaning pad in her hand. She was just a maid small, quiet and invisible to most. Her purple skin glowed faintly under the hallway lights, and her silver eyes blinked it. The room ahead, Ambassador. Hanyul's private quarters. The door was open. It should not have been. She looked down at her service tablet. There was no alert, no task assigned here. And yet, the door, a thick, sealed unit, was open, just a crack. From inside, faint blue light spilled out, along with something else, something heavier, something she didn't have a word for. Ari stepped forward slowly. Her soft boots made no sound. The hallway behind her was empty. She touched the door gently. It slid open with a soft hiss, and that's when she saw him, Ambassador Hanyul, the last senior human representative in the Varelin Empire. A powerful man, a quiet man, always cold, always polite. He spoke in short sentences. He never smiled. No one ever dared question him. Now he was on his knees. He was alone in the center of the room, his shoulders shaking. Around him, small objects floated in the air, holograms, flickering and turning in slow circles. There were trees, birds, faces, cities, earth things. And in the middle of it all, he was clutching something in his hand, something small and golden. He didn't see her, not yet. Ari's heart beat faster. She knew she should leave, walk away. This was a human moment, and humans were proud creatures, especially this one. But something about the scene kept her frozen in place. Then he whispered something. It was in his native language. She didn't understand the words, but she understood the pain. His voice cracked like glass under pressure. He was not talking to her. He was talking to someone who wasn't there. A child's laughter echoed softly through the room from one of the holograms. Then rain, then silence. Ari took one step forward, just one. Her foot brushed the edge of a clear memory crystal on the floor. It rolled and tapped against another. Hanyul turned. His eyes met hers. For a long second, no one moved. Ari held her breath. She expected shouting, anger, maybe even a command to forget what she saw. Instead, his voice came out flat and tired. "You're not supposed to be here. I'm sorry," Ari whispered. The door was open. He looked down again. His hands were shaking. "Guess it doesn't matter anymore," Ari stepped inside. The door closed behind her. "Are you hurt?" He gave a small, bitter laugh. "Not in any way a healer can fix." She looked around the room. It was filled with Earth's relics, things he wasn't supposed to have. Personal memories. Objects with feeling. A hologram of a small girl running through a field of yellow flowers. Hovered close by. Ari stared. "Is she?" "My daughter," Hanyul said quietly. Her name was Salman. Ari sat down slowly, careful not to disturb the floating lights. "I didn't know humans had children on Earth." "We did," he said, before it burned. She had heard stories. Most Reinari knew only the official history. Earth destroyed itself in the final resource wars. Only a few humans were allowed to live among the Varelin Empire, and those who survived had to give up their old ways, their old names, their old memories. "You kept this?" Ari asked, motioning to the pendant. In his hand, he nodded. "It was hers. She gave it to me before we got separated during the evacuation. I was put on the last ship out of Seoul. They told me she died in the fire." Ari didn't speak. There were no words that could answer that. "I'm an ambassador now," he said. "They think I'm strong, wise, useful, but they don't know I still cry in the dark. They don't know I kept this room exactly like my home on Earth. They don't know I wake up every night hearing her laugh." She looked at the pendant. A small gold disc with a tiny Earth carved into it, scratched and old but still bright. She didn't ask how he smuggled it here. She didn't ask why he risked everything to keep it, just listened. "I used to think that if I kept smiling, kept working, it would go away," he said. "That grief was a thing you could bury under duties. But it doesn't go away. It just hides." Ari slowly reached out and touched his hand. At first, he pulled back. But then, he let her. "You shouldn't carry it alone," she said. His eyes widened, not because of the words, but because of the tone, the softness, the truth. "You're the first person to say that in years," he whispered. She looked at him, not the ambassador, not the human. It's just the man. And in that moment, something passed between them. Not love, not duty. Something smaller, softer. A thread of understanding. The lights flickered once more. This time the room didn't feel dark. It felt alive. Ari couldn't sleep that night. She sat in her small chamber under dim lights, still hearing the sound of his voice, quiet, broken, real. In all her months on the Varelin space station, she had never seen anything like that. People didn't cry here. People didn't remember. But Ambassador Haniel had held a whole world inside his chest stand for the first time. Someone had seen it. She opened the station console on her desk. It blinked politely, ready for orders. She typed the word Earth. The screen gave a warning. Access restricted by order of the Empire. She closed the message and whispered to herself, "Why are they afraid of the past?" The next day, she returned to his room. This time, the door opened before she even knocked. He stood. In the center again, but now the lights were on.
Ow.
The floating holograms were gone. He looked tired, but something in his face had changed. Softer, he motioned for her to enter. "You came back?" he said. "I couldn't forget," she replied. They sat down again on the floor, this time with no fear. Between them, the small, golden pendant rested on the table. "There's something I didn't tell you," he said. "This pendant, it's not just a keepsake. It has something hidden inside." Ari leaned closer. He carefully opened the tiny latch on the back. Inside was a chip, small, old, and dusty. "I never looked at it," he said. "I couldn't. I thought it would only bring pain." Ari took the chip and inserted it into a portable reader. Low hum filled the air. Then, a child's voice. "Appa. If you're seeing this, it means I didn't make it to the ship." Haniel froze. His eyes widened. His lips trembled. The voice continued, soft and shaky. "I'm hiding with others. The Varelin guard said they would protect us. But I don't know if that's true. But I love you. I know you're going to survive. You always told me to be brave, so I'm trying. I'm trying real hard." In silence, the file ended. Ari looked at him, but Haniel's face was pale. He looked like he couldn't breathe. She was alive. He whispered, "She was still alive. After I left." Ari reached out and touched his arm. "You didn't know?" He sat back, his head resting against the wall. "The Empire lied to us. They told me there were no survivors left, that she died during the firestorm. But she was there. She trusted them." Ari didn't speak. She could feel his pain. But something else now stirred inside her. Anger. What if she survived longer? Ari asked. What if others did too? What if there's a whole colony somewhere forgotten, hidden? He looked at her. Then we need to find it. It began that same night. Ari hacked the local archives using an old Reinari maintenance code. Together they found a restricted file buried under code names and false coordinates. It spoke of a human colony not destroyed but relocated, hidden, protected, but kept secret to control the ambassador. They didn't want you to know, Ari said. If you had hope, they would lose power over you. He clenched his fists. They wanted a broken man, not a father with fire in his chest. Ari smiled gently. You're not broken anymore. The next day, Haniel made a decision. But it was not war. It was not revenge. It was something far more dangerous. Truth. He recorded a message. Simple one. He stood in front of a plain wall, wearing no medals, no symbols, just a man in black, with a photo of a small girl in his hand. I am Haniel. I represent Earth, or what's left of it. For years, I was told my people were gone, that my family died. But that was not true. The past is not something to be erased. It is something to be remembered. He paused, and then added, if you see this, and you are human, you are not forgotten. If you are Reinari, Varelin, or anyone else, know this, Sorrow is not weakness. It is love that refuses to die. Ended with a single line. I am still a father, and I am still waiting. Ari disguised the message as a poem broadcast. It across the station, under the title, The Stars Remember Us. It spread like soft wind, quiet and strong. People began to ask questions about Earth, about grief, about truth. 2 weeks later, a response came. From a far moon on the edge of Varelin space. From a hidden colony, a young woman's voice. This is Soman, if you're receiving this. Appa, I'm still here. Haniel cried that day, but not in silence, not in shame. He stood in front of the entire station and let the tears fall. People gathered, not just humans. Reinari, Varelin, others. They stood together and watched the reunion happen across space. Some of them cried too. For the first time in years, the space station didn't feel cold. It felt human months later. Ambassador Haniel still worked in his office, but now he kept the holograms on. Soman's voice played softly in the background sometimes. Ari remained at his side, not as a maid, but as his assistant, his friend. The one who saw his sorrow and stayed, and in the quiet halls of the Empire, people began to whisper stories. About a man who never forgot, about a pendant that held more than memory, about a maid who believed grief was not weakness but proof of love, and somewhere, far beyond the stars, Earth was alive again, in memories, in voices, in hope.